Well, the Trump administration this week settling two lawsuits that challenged DEI policies at military academies. Attorney General Pam Bondi releasing a statement saying, quote, "We are proud to partner with the Department of Defense to permanently end race-based admissions at West Point and the Air Force Academy. Admission to these prestigious military institutions should be based exclusively on merit." Let's bring in Mark Smith, a constitutional attorney. And the Naval Academy previously settled this same case, correct, Mark?
You know, John, keep in mind that the Department of Defense has come out and said unequivocally that DEI programs, race-based admissions, none of this advances national security. It simply doesn't. The fact that they're now applying this to these various military academies, of course, it's the right decision, just as a matter of policy. And of course, it's also the law, because you're not allowed to discriminate, let's say, on the basis of race. The Supreme Court has repeatedly said that, John, and that's where we are today when it comes to the military academies.
Well, the Supreme Court said that in a very clear ruling in 2023 that race-based admission should not be allowed. But why did it take the military academies until now to understand that?
Well, really what happened, John, is in 2023, when the Supreme Court issued this decision, they had in front of them a public university, the University of North Carolina. They had a private university in the form of Harvard. What they did not have in front of them in that particular case were any of the military academies. And in a very express footnote, John, the Supreme Court says, look, we're not going to get involved with the military academies right now, because maybe there's some argument they can make that's not being made here. But as soon as the Supreme Court issued that decision, the lawsuits were brought involving the military academies, and now the Trump administration has resolved these in favor, frankly, of the Constitution.
Well, so how are things going to change for the young men and women who want to get into those prestigious institutions?
Well, I think it's a move toward meritocracy, John. I think it's about, it would be test scores and other objective measures. And the one thing, again, that will not include is, the discrimination, right? It will not involve race discrimination, which, of course, as Martin Luther King taught us, it's about being judged on your character and not the color of your skin. And I think the military academies are moving toward that Martin Luther King viewpoint, which I think is where almost all Americans really are, outside of sort of some areas of elite wokeism. Discriminating on the basis of race is viewed as pernicious and should not be done, whether you're at the military academies or otherwise.
So prior to this, the academies would say, okay, captain of your football team, check, straight A student, check, but they would give you extra bonus points if you had a certain skin color.
Well, that's very interesting, John. The question, of course, is what exactly was going on at all these institutions? This is a question not only applicable to the military academies, but to all of America's universities. And that is a big reason, in my view. It's very important, for example, when the Trump administration tries to settle other cases with other institutions that they do not explicitly control. Because, of course, the Trump administration, being the commander-in-chief, gets to control the military academies, but he doesn't get to control private universities. He doesn't get to control public universities. And in those instances, it's very important, in my view, that some sort of federal monitor be imposed to monitor the internal conduct of these other universities to make sure that the law is being complied with fully in all respects. That's mission critical, in my view, John.
So you think that's going to happen not only at these private, non-public universities, but also at the military academies?
Well, I think when it comes to the military academy, they already have essentially a monitor, right? Because the military academies are run by the White House, the commander-in-chief, Pete Hegseth, of course, the head of DOD. So in some sense, they already are able to monitor it directly. What's not able to occur, John, is this kind of direct monitoring to make sure compliance with law occurs in private universities, let's say at Harvard, in public universities and the like, because the Trump administration doesn't directly control that process, because these are not federal institutions. And that's why it's important to have a federal monitor, an individual or group of people that can go into these schools and look very carefully at what's going on with the decision making by the board of trustees, by the faculty, by the admissions committees and whatnot. Because if you're not looking out for what's going on, if you don't essentially have a babysitter watching these schools, there's a good chance, there's a real risk that someone might try to skip over complying with the law.
All right. It's interesting to see what's changed in higher education under this president. Mark Smith, thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.